Hi everyone, this is my Mercedes 2004 SL500. The problem I'm having is a massive inner tire wear. It's really bad. And when measuring the camber with one of these bubble levels, it's about a neg 3.5, and that's way too much. It should be about -1 according to the WIS, but I'd like to set it to like -1/4. Um, so the problem is there is no camber adjustment, but you can buy aftermarket arms that are adjustable. And that's what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in my adjustable camber arms. Before you get started, you're going to need one of these little bubble levels. I think I bought this for $25 on eBay. It's got an adjustment here so you can calibrate it. I've just put it against my refrigerator here and measured it with a regular level to make sure it is 90 degrees. And then you can calibrate this thing for 0. So that'll make it 100% accurate at 0. You're also going to need some things that you may not have in the garage. You're going to need a oscillating multi-tool like this one with a carbide blade. We're going to be cutting off a bolt, so this will be needed. I got a Work Zone brand here from Aldi's, and they really work pretty good. I like the brand name. You're also going to need a 18mm open or closed end wrench. Not a socket. You will need a socket too, but you'll need a wrench, open end or closed end. I looked all over the place, and Harbor Freight's the only one that had an 18mm wrench. They had these S-curved, a set of these S-curved ones, and they actually work really well. And you're also going to need a couple bolts, nuts, and washers from Ace Hardware. Ace is where I always go to get metric nuts and bolts. They've always got what I need. And I'll leave a link in the description for this stuff. And one more thing that you'll need that you might not have is an E18 star wrench. Star, reverse Torx, whatever you want to call it, like this. A wrench or a socket. So very first thing you want to do is measure your camber with the tool here and either write it down or remember it. Mine's a -3.5. Next, jack up the car and remove the wheel. Now, if we come down and take a look, we can see the camber arm here. And there's a bolt up front here to take off and a bolt back there to take off. Looks pretty easy, right? Wrong. In order to get this bolt out, you've got the nut on this side and the bolt head on this side. You're going to have to push the bolt out this way, and you're going to hit the chassis here. You can change the angle. If you take the bolt off the arm on the wheel side, you can change the angle of this camber arm to get the bolt past the chassis piece right here. But once you get past there, you've got the gas tank back there, and it is not going to, the bolt is too long to go back there, so you can't get that bolt off. So the WIS has you lowering the axle carrier in order to get that bolt out. And I've got a better solution for that. I'm going to cut that bolt. And you say, well, how are you going to get a grinder in there? You can't get a grinder in there, and you can't get a Dremel tool in there either because of the angle it cuts. So that's where our multi-tool will come in handy. Okay, let's get started. First thing you want to do is measure the camber while you got the wheel off here. And just make sure you have this tool set up the exact same way before you change the arm and after you change the arm. Because there's a lip you probably have also on your brake disc here. If you have the tool, over the lip here and not over the lip here, that's going to change your angle. If your scale does not, if it's maxed out, you can put a tongue depressor underneath the top part of this tool here. Just make sure you put it this exact same way after you change the arm. This is the way I had it set up on the driver's side because it was so far off. The bubble was off the scale. You just have to remember to put it back exactly the same way after you change the arm. So right now, I am actually able to read this. It's a -5. Okay, next thing you want to do is remove the bolt on the wheel side of the camber arm. You've got an 18 millimeter nut on this side and an E18 bolt on this side. You can use a wrench or socket, but a socket would be a lot better because you're going to need to unscrew this bolt after you've removed the nut here, because there's some tension on this camber arm here, so you can't just push it out. You'd have to whack it out, but you can just unscrew it there, so a socket would be better. Okay, once you finally get that bolt out, it took me forever here because I only had a wrench. This camber arm is going to jump up a bit and hit that dust shield. Just go ahead and pull the arm over the dust shield like that. See, now we can change the angle of this thing for later. Okay, our next challenge is to get the nut off of that bolt there on the camber arm. The left, you can see the head there. It's a cheese head bolt, and there's no way to get a wrench back there. This is what that bolt looks like back there. So there's no way to get a wrench back there to put to hold this bolt. So what you can do is, since you've got a view of it, you can put a small pair of vice grips on there. And that's about the size of the vice grips. They're pretty small. As you can see, you've got just enough room to put those small vice grips on that head. All right, I was able to do that, and you need an 18 millimeter wrench to get the nut loose. I needed some serious leverage on that thing. That thing is really on there, but you can't get a socket on there, so you need a wrench, an 18 millimeter wrench, to get that nut off. Okay, now that you've got that nut out, you can't push that bolt to the left there and get it out. It is way too long. So what we're going to do is cut that right side of that bolt off with a multi-tool. A grinder is not going to fit in there, and a Dremel tool is not going to fit in there with the angle that it cuts at. So this is the perfect tool for this. This is a multi-tool here. It's works on by Aldi. I actually really like this brand. And it is small, and it'll fit in there just perfectly. And I'll be able to get the edge of that bolt right there flush with the edge. Okay, I was able to get that bolt cut off nicely, so now you just push it out and you'll be able to get that bolt out. Now you can remove the control arm, and there it is. When you are pulling that bolt out of the back there, on the passenger side here, I found it no problem to get my hand up behind the bolt and pull it out. Just lay on your back, and with my right hand I could reach up there and grab the bolt from the back side. I don't remember it being that easy on the driver's side though. These are my new KMAC adjustable camber arms. I'm going to put these in now. On these KMAC arms, they come with these bushings here. There's like two sizes. There's a bigger size and then a smaller size. Just make sure the bolt that you bought fits well in there. Here's the wheel side bolt, and it fits well in there. See, it doesn't fit well in this other one. It's way too big. And then use the supplied grease here and grease the outside of this bushing, and then just push them in there. Okay, there's the arms with the bushings installed, and I've adjusted this to as far in as it'll go, so to make sure that it's even on both sides. Here's the orientation of the arm. The curved part goes down on the chassis side, and the straight part goes on the hub side. And here's the curved washer. It goes right in there, and the curved side goes toward the mounting hole here, and it's obvious there. And here's my next challenge, is trying to get this bolt on the left side of that arm bushing. I'm going to be on my back looking up and using my right arm. I'm able to stick my right arm up in there, and I should be able to push the bolt into the hole there and align it while I'm moving the arm around so I can get the bolt into the hole there. Okay, I was able to get that bolt in surprisingly easy compared to the other side. It only took me a few minutes to do that. Okay, now put the nut on the right side of the bolt there with some blue Loctite and a washer. I didn't use a washer on the left side because this bolt is not so long that it'll go all the way through the threads of the nut and out the other side. You only get a few threads out the other side just using one washer. Okay, now you can use a 19-inch wrench on both sides and tighten it up as hard as you can. There's no way to get a torque wrench in there. The book says 50 Newton meters, which is 36 foot-pounds, plus 90 degrees. But there's no way you're going to be able to get a torque wrench in there. So I just tighten them up as much as I possibly can. And it doesn't need to be in a drive ready state because those bushings there are not integrated with the metal bushing inside of it, so it's going to spin around in there. So it doesn't matter if you tighten it up in a drive ready state or not. Now I've got this tightened up, and you can see that there are just a few threads sticking out of the nut now. Now you want to attach this side. You can just turn the adjustment knob here until you get it lined up. And I'm going to need 2 hands to do that. Before you attach the arm to the wheel side, make sure you've got your concave washer from the kit and that it fits on the bolt there. Mine did not. I had to ream it out a bit, and that's how it fits in there. You've got a concave or convex washer and a concave or convex spot right here that it fits on, so just make sure that fits. Okay, now put some Loctite on the bolt and tighten it up to 36 foot-pounds and 90 degrees, and you're set there. And you also might notice that the arm is pretty close to the spring there. Right now the axle is at its maximum lower travel, so that's as close as the arm's ever going to get to the spring there. Normally the arm would be up more, and the spring is slightly angled there, so the arm will just get further away from the spring as it goes up. So this is as close as it will ever get to the spring. It is pretty close, but I doubt your axle will ever be at a maximum downward travel like this. Okay, now I need to adjust the arm. When it was sitting like this before, it read -5. And when it was sitting on the ground, it was -3.5. So I need to make this 3.5 more positive than it was before. So it was at a -5. So if I make it 3.5 more positive, that means I got to set this for a -1.5. So I want to make it just a tiny bit negative. So about maybe 1.75 I'll set it. Just a tiny shy of that. So tiny shy of 1 3/4. So if I move this adjustment arm to the left here, it gets more positive. So I need to get this to a little shy of 1.75. Whoop, what do we got there? That looks good to me. A little more than 1.5. So I'm gonna leave it there and lock it down. So you just need to move these bolts, and that should lock it down this bolt and the other bolt, and this should be at around a zero when I put the wheel on and put the car down. Okay, I've got the wheel back on, and I drove it for a little bit. It is right around zero right there. I'll get my light on. And that looks to be pretty close to zero right there. I was hoping maybe a little bit negative, but it looks like it's like right on zero. And I'm happy with that. At least my tires now won't wear out so quick, and they'll be making full contact with the road instead of about 10%. So I'm real happy with that. Thanks for watching, everyone.